trusted to protect the people,
Thank you, Mr.
not the bureaucrats who made that decision.
Thank you.
Representative C.A. Johnson, are you willing to make a question?
Quick question.
Sure.
Very quick. Mr. Giuliani. Hi again.
Hello?
Do you think that both you and the president are honest men?
Do I really have to answer that question?
Yes.
Representative C.A. Johnson, Representative,
Why not answer it?
Representative, do you have a point of order?
I'm asking the question.
Representative,
I'm
we're not
asking
gonna,
the question.
we need a
Do you
question
consider
related to the
yourself,
election.
Mr.
Representative,
Giuliani?
Representative, you're out of order. Out of order. Representative, you're out of order. Representative, if you want to ask a question about the election, you can ask the question. But that is not about the election. So, do you have a question about the election, Representative?
I can't because this is a show. No, I just can't.
Representative, do you have a, hold on, Representative.
Do you really believe?
Representative, do you have a question about the election?
Yes.
All right, then I'll turn your mic on. Ask the question about the
Mr.
election.
Giuliani. Oh, did you turn it off?
If you have a
Giuliani.
question about the election, ask it.
I can hear you.
Mr. Giuliani. Do you believe that the citizens of Detroit, those who have voted, feel like what you're doing today is disenfranchising or attempting to disenfranchise the citizens of Detroit?
Just the opposite. I would say that trying to
let him
separate
answer.
the honest from the dishonest vote is saving the franchise, because every dishonest vote deprives an honest person of their vote.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
Let's let
And
him,
so-
Representative, let's let him answer the question.
Yeah, he just did.
Okay, then
Yeah,
I think,
he just did.
Oh,
And
then-
so I agree with you. Dishonesty is dishonesty, right? Right.
thank you, Representative. All right, Mr. Giuliani, I think that's the question's for you. I know Jenna Ellis asked to say something. I'm not sure what, but what is it you wanted to say? You have some kind of closing statement?
Thank you. And I appreciate all of the members of the panel. And typically what I've done before two other states is to explain the Constitution and to explain your duty. However, in this particular legislature, it's very apparent that the circus has only been from one side. The witnesses that have appeared before you today have done so as honest, sincere, and forthright citizens bringing concerns to you. And when you are saying that there are concerns but only looking forward, you are not doing your constitutionally obligated and mandated duty. And what we're here to do today is to present to you the evidence that we've been able to do in the last 4 hours. Mayor Giuliani is very correct that this is only a sample. But no honest person can hear these citizens of your own state today look at what happened in Wayne County with the bullying of the two GOP Board of Canvassers when they didn't want to certify the election, and can let this proceed. What the Constitution obligates you to do is to take back your plenary power, because the certification was false, clearly. And you can do that, and you should do that, because you have an obligation as state legislators. Now, normally, when I've testified in front of state legislators, it's about policy and it's about legislation. This isn't about policy, it's not about politics, it's not about Democrat versus Republican, it's not even about President Trump versus Joe Biden. This is about election integrity. This is about making sure that the people of the state of Michigan are not disenfranchised based on fraud and corruption. That's the reason that we are here. And I asked you at the very beginning to put aside your party and your preconceptions to listen honestly to the people who've appeared before you. Now, I've been a part of many court trials, and you as the fact finders, of course, can determine and assess their credibility. They have sworn affidavits that they all indicated to you they swore under penalty of perjury. That's actually a very big deal for a citizen to come forward and do that. They're doing this because they're patriots and because America cannot function and exist without free and fair elections. Our founders understood that, and that's why they obligated you to be the last guardians of that process. What we're asking you to do is not something that is unheard of. It's not even something that hasn't been contemplated by our United States Supreme Court, which held in that 1892 case that was then cited favorably in Bush v. Gore, that this is your plenary, meaning absolute power. And if you, after an investigation, find that you want to certify the results, that is your prerogative. What we asked initially in the filing of our lawsuits, which, Representative, there were only 3 initially. It's not true that there were 39, and we would appreciate the facts being straight.
There are 39.
We have,
Hey,
not from the Trump
Representative, let's continue.
not from the Trump campaign. And other concerned parties have certainly brought forward lawsuits for election integrity on their own. And we may have similar interests, but the campaign doesn't represent their lawsuits. But what we asked initially was to simply stop the certification because we had significant, not just concern, but actual evidence. And what you've heard today is not just a speculation, it's not just concern, it's not a conspiracy theory. It's people who were there, who were eyewitnesses, who were telling you what they saw. This was election officials who have violated the laws of your state that you as the General Assembly passed in order to preserve election integrity. There are 2 different tracks. You have the laws of the state that election officials on the ground are supposed to adhere to, and then you have the issue with dominion. Now, absolutely, the mayor is right that you need to audit those machines, but you have more than enough just based on the election official. Absolute fraud, absolutely ignoring the laws of this General Assembly, the laws of your state, to reclaim your authority. That is your duty, it's your constitutional obligation, and that's why we are in front of you. So I'm happy to answer any questions on the constitutionality, on anything, but I would simply urge you that this is not about policy, it's not about politics, it's not about Democrats versus Republicans. This is about making sure that we are not the generation that is the weakest link in America that does not preserve and protect our free and fair elections and our right to select our commander-in-chief into the next generation. That's what this is about. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any questions? Questions down here for Representative C.A. Johnson?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you so much for being here. And I agree with you, too. It should be about us electing our own elected officials. And wouldn't you agree that we have elected our own elected official? And are you saying that some of us should not, our votes don't count?
Not at all, Madam Representative. The point is that when so much fraud dilutes the vote of the people that you serve and your constituents, then it's irredeemably compromised. And you may like the outcome of this fraud, but imagine if there were witnesses that were testifying to the exact same thing and the outcome had been for President Trump. The point here is that corruption is corruption and it dilutes the vote, and that cannot stand. And so, no, your state has not actually selected anyone for president. I mean, in fact, the representative said, Kanye, maybe, he doesn't know. I think that's where everyone is at, where we don't know. And what we do know is that there has been a massive amount of fraud, irregularities, and
Thank you.
Well, I'm still finishing. Thank you. There have been massive amount of irregularities. There have been ignorance and complete disregard for the law of the state of Michigan. And so when it is so irredeemably compromised, when you have something like what's happened in Wayne County, you have the intimidation of officials who are trying to do the right thing, intimidation even here in this committee of witnesses. That is unacceptable, and you should reclaim your constitutionally obligated authority so that you can make sure that the person that you send your delegates for genuinely reflects your constituency. And I hope that your constituency would demand and require that of you.
All right, thank you. I don't see any other questions, so thank you for your testimony.
Very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, too. And appreciate everyone who testified here today. We're grateful for that. I know a lot of stories were told here today.